Hello, everybody. My name is Reagan Archibald, and I'm grateful and honored that I have this opportunity to talk to you about thyroid hormones, stress, and digestive health. We have an epidemic in our country when it comes to thyroid issues. In fact, Synthroid, which is levothyroxine, it's one of the most common drugs to treat hypothyroidism. It's actually the number one most prescribed drug right now. So what I'm doing is I want to educate the population and let you guys know that there is something out there that could possibly help you in your quest to understand what's going on with your thyroid hormones. So if you think about some of the things you've tried, a lot of us have been down so many different avenues and we've looked at so many different things. In fact, my story, originally I wanted to go into Western medicine, but I found that the reductionistic way of treating the body with drugs just was not in my comfort zone. And so what I did is I started looking at other alternatives, and I had this phenomenal professor at the University of Utah who actually recommended I start studying Eastern medicine. So I had the fortunate experience to go to the same Chinese medical school that Earl Bakken was involved with. In fact, he is the cardiologist that invented the pacemaker. And what he said is the best time to prevent diseases is 20 to 30 years before they ever show up. And so that's hopefully for some of you who have good, healthy thyroid function and you're just here to get educated, great. You're going to get some good education here. For those of you who may have a thyroid issue or have been diagnosed, or maybe you're on medication but you're looking for other solutions, let me give you some of the new approaches that we found to be incredibly helpful. Because what we do is I help people who have been diagnosed hypothyroid or Hashimoto's or even hyper and Graves. I help them find lifestyle solutions and natural remedies to help reverse thyroid issues so that they can reclaim their health, so they don't have to depend on a medication for the rest of their life. So let's jump right in. I mean, if you look at some of the things that can affect your thyroid, one of those is going to be stress. Now, not that you have any, but just in case, stress can be very damaging. Excuse me, there's three types of stress we want to look at. You want to look at physical stress. Physical stress can come from those football games that you play. It's also, they can stem from crashes. In fact, if you look at physical trauma affects the nervous system in our body, and if you go too long without actually fixing physical trauma, they can start to impact your central nervous system, which can affect the function of your organs. Because each one of your organ systems is dependent on proper blood circulation and proper nervous system function. So if you remember, if you know, when you're 3 years old, well, maybe we don't remember that, but if you remember falling down the stairs, you see a baby fall down the stairs, it's scared, it gets up and cries for a minute and then goes on its way. But if you're 80, 85 and you fall down the steps, that may be the last step you ever take. So these physical traumas cause malfunctions in our body, and over time they can start to affect our hormones. Physical trauma, what we found with whiplash cases specifically, can affect your thyroid gland because of where it's located. Let's talk about chemical trauma. Chemical trauma, that can be the pollution from factories, the alcohol we consume. It can also be caused by the PBA, the plastics that we consume, the gas we're putting in our cars, the makeup you're wearing. Sorry, ladies, I know you look beautiful, but that makeup, the lead, can have a devastating impact on your thyroid. In fact, the chemicals that are the hardest on your thyroid are going to be bromine. Where do you find bromine? That's found in breads. It's a preservative in a lot of processed foods. You want to avoid fluoride. Yes, I know you're saying, well, my dentist wants me to use fluoride, but fluoride is actually a halogen molecule. It blocks iodine, and your thyroid is dependent on iodine to make thyroxine, which in turn becomes your active thyroid hormone, which is called T3. The other type of stress that can really affect us are emotional stress. So any of you out there who have a relationship, you understand what I'm saying when it comes to emotional stress, because what emotional stress does is it raises your cortisol levels. When your cortisol levels are elevated, you're more stressed, and that takes away from the health of your thyroid. So one of the very finest ways to treat stress is breathing. My Japanese doctor, one of my main mentors, over a decade ago, what she would say is the quickest way to stop breathing, or excuse me, I just gave it away. The quickest way to die is to stop breathing. The quickest way to bring life is to breathe. So do me a favor and take a few deep breaths right now. Just try and really get present in your body, see how it's feeling. Okay, so let's talk about maybe some of the circles that you've been on. You've probably seen that in our healthcare system, what happens is you've gone in there and you've said, I've got thinning hair, my outer third of my eyebrows are falling out, I'm starting to gain weight, and yes, the weight's going on everywhere. And so your first thought is, what medical condition do you have? And so, of course, those are symptoms of thyroid issues. So of course you get a couple tests ran, and sure enough your thyroid's low, and so then the second thought is, what drugs do you need? And this is one reason pharmaceutical companies, they spend billions of dollars every year to make you think that a drug is the only way to treat an imbalance in the body. And frankly, we've seen otherwise in hundreds of cases. But the reason why pharmaceutical companies have such a stronghold over the population right now is because they are the ones that are out there spinning misinformation. In fact, so one of the neurologists that I worked with early in my career, she would not let the drug reps come into her clinic because she felt that their information was so misleading that it was dangerous to subject her patients to those kinds of recommendations that came from some of the pharmaceutical reps. So you have to think differently. One thing we're doing, if we're going to treat your thyroid, we've got to treat your whole body, because it's never just one condition. It's never just one cause. There's multiple systems at play. It can be your digestive system, your liver. It could be from toxicity. It could be from your pituitary, your hypothalamus. There's multiple things that can cause thyroid issues. But one thing we look at with our healthcare system today, I mean, we are literally in a crisis. And the biggest struggle that you're faced with is, what am I supposed to do? I have no answers. And you're still tired, your labs show normal, you're feeling like crap, your libido's gone plummeted, you're craving sugar all the time, and your relationships are suffering, but there is hope. There's a new way, but first thing you have to do is think outside the box, because one thing that helped me in making my decision to move towards more of a functional medicine approach in my practice is understanding that 85% of all medical procedures and surgeries are scientifically unproven. This is from the British Medical Journal. Even the World Health Organization, what they said is 90% of diseases prevalent today are not treatable with orthodox medical procedures. Now, these things, this can be very startling to some of you, because we've been so ingrained to believe that Western medicine was the only answer, allopathic medicine. But now what we're finding is, if you can start looking beyond, you peel back that layer of one diagnosis, one condition, one drug, what you'll find is that if you look at the body from a holistic approach and treat all the different systems, that's when you can have success in reversing your thyroid issue. So do we need to be more proactive? Yes, don't let me catch you doing this. But let's talk about your thyroid. I mean, one thing that makes it vital in your body is each one of your cells has a receptor site for a thyroid hormones, for T3. And when those hormones aren't being produced by your thyroid, or when they're not being converted in your liver or your digestive system, what happens is you start to have issues with bone metabolism. It affects your immune system, your brain, your liver and gallbladder, your digestion doesn't work as well. Your fat burning hormones go down. Your sex hormones go down. That's why you have loss of libido. a lot of you are going to have blood sugar issues too. You'll crave sugar, you'll feel shaky, you can become insulin resistant. And then one of the most common signs that we see with thyroid issues are high cholesterol levels, because your thyroid does support healthy cholesterol levels and it also supports proper stomach acid. So your thyroid is key. Now, some of the main symptoms that you can have if your thyroid's not functioning well are hair loss and thinning. You can also be tired and sluggish. You can have bowel difficulty. This is actually a picture of me. Um, Depression, that's a big issue with thyroid disease. Um, the other thing you can get is morning headaches. You can actually wake up with a frontal headache right on your forehead. That's a common symptom of a thyroid imbalance. You can end up with weight gain. So you can see in the thyroid body type right here, that's where you start putting on weight all over. Now, if you started with some lower belly fat before your thyroid started to show up, and what that can indicate is possibly your cortisol levels weren't regulated. So you'll want to check cortisol. You do that through saliva. If you notice that maybe you had some saddlebags building up around the hips, that could be from too much toxicity. So that's where you'd want to think more about detoxing your body when it comes to fixing your thyroid, because once again, there's never just one cause. There's going to be multiple things. If you've got the pot belly and you've collected fat along your lower rib cage, that can be liver issues or insulin resistance. All those things are very critical when you're looking at thyroid. But the reason why your thyroid, see this body type, the reason why your body tends to put weight on all over is because you have a receptor site for the thyroid hormone, which is one of your fat burning hormones, in every cell of your body. Those thyroid hormones are there. So if you're looking at these things, you may get cold hands and feet. You may actually have hot flashes. You may get mood swings. Probably not you, but you probably know somebody who has. You may get nervous and emotional. You may have insomnia. Or you may even get night sweats. These are all symptoms of thyroid. And unfortunately, the only thing we're doing still 50 years later for thyroid issues is Synthroid. And the frustrating thing about that is when you're looking at thyroid, there's a lot more to look at than just plain old TSH, T4, and T3. And the reason why most doctors won't look at the autoimmune component of your thyroid is because most doctors would treat it the same way, once again with Synthroid. So what we want to do is we want to look at what is really going on with your thyroid. Is it really a thyroid issue, or is it due to some kind of autoimmune disease? Because one thing that we have found is that 90% of thyroid symptoms among US women are due to an autoimmune disorder. So that's 90% of you females out there, you have a thyroid issue. So Hashimoto and Graves are not thyroid problems, they're actually problems with your immune system. So we have to regulate that. We use what's considered functional labs, functional medicine. So if you're looking to find answers, then one of the biggest things we want to address is we want to look at your labs just a little different, because most doctors' offices, they'll go zero point 0.3 to 5.7 when it comes to standard lab values for your thyroid stimulating hormone. Where we want to keep it is between 1.8 and 3.0. Ideal is going to be right around 2.0. That's when you're going to burn fat the most effectively and feel at the top of your game. So we want to look at things different. So when you come in for your consult, if you like what we said, then bring your labs. I want to look at those. I want to give a different value. I want to see what really could be going on there, because in most cases there's this dysregulation in your helper cells, your immune system. If it's not fully balanced, that's when you can start triggering different autoimmune disease. That's when your immune system actually starts eating up your thyroid tissue. So this is one of our patients. Her name's Jana, and Jana is a success story. We have hundreds of them, but what happened to Jana is she came in with Graves' disease, and she ended up having a reversal, a complete reversal of her Graves by through blood tests. We're able to prove it But she did that by ordering the correct tests, so we found out what her food sensitivities were. In her case, dairy and gluten were some big ones. We also found that getting her on the right lifestyle program. She did some acupuncture. She she did the lifestyle changes that were necessary in order for her to get healthy. So you can do it just like she did. I mean, we've seen lots of people get the help they need. So I want to encourage you to look in a little deeper. So when you're looking at thyroid, there's some key things that we want to address. I mean, one of those is, okay, we want to see what your TSH levels are like. We want to look at that through a functional lens. We also want to look at the fact that you may not have enough free T4 and free T3, so we're going to order those tests for you. We're also going to order a test called your TPO, your thyroid peroxidase antibodies. That helps us understand if it's an immune issue, because ladies, like I said, 90% of you have an immune issue, not a thyroid issue, and so we want to test just to make sure. The other test we're going to look at is we're going to look at your digestive function. Now, digestive function has been linked to hypothyroidism for the last 5 years. We found that there's a condition called gut permeability or leaky gut syndrome. And what happens is that triggers an immune reaction in your body, which can further devastate your thyroid function. So if you've put on weight suddenly, or if you feel like no matter what you do, you can't recover from workouts, you're feeling exhausted, we want to look at that number to see if you've got leaky gut or gut permeability. The other thing that we're going to test absolutely when it comes to thyroid issues is we have to look at your adrenal function, because if your cortisol levels aren't balanced, then what that indicates is that you cannot do anything for the thyroid until we regulate the cortisol and get your adrenal glands balanced. So there's some things you're going to want to look at. First thing we do is, we've got to order the correct tests. If you want help, that's it. We don't want to play guessing games. We don't want to try and fix you blindfolded. We want to determine the true underlying cause and then focus on the cause and not the symptoms. We look at correcting things with natural substances. We use whole food supplementation from organic sources. We also use a lot of Chinese herbs and adaptogenic herbs. And then we use a systematic approach. So if you look at why there's such a failure in healthcare today, it's because there's not a systematic approach. It's not an ABC 1, 2, 3 approach. Most of us are left guessing. Your doctor may say, "Good news, Miss Smith. We got your labs in and you do have a thyroid issue. So how we're going to treat it is we are going to write you out a prescription drug for Synthroid. And I want you to take these every day." And you are saying, "Well, why do I have a thyroid issue in the first place?" You are obviously more educated. You've reached out to us, but you're saying, "I want to know what the cause is." And so that's what we're going to do. We're going to dig in for you. And when I say we use a systematic approach, we actually have a healthcare team. So we have Eastern medical doctors, we have Western medical doctors, we have nurse practitioners, we have practitioners who are trained in functional medicine, also trained in taking a wellness approach. And when you can actually just do some of the things we ask you to do and then not do some of the things we ask you not to do, there's no reason why you won't get the results that everyone before you has. And one of my favorite things is seeing our patients be able to heal their thyroid, to be able to heal their digestive system, heal their adrenals, and fix their nutritional levels. Because what happens is they start getting their health back. So we do this by putting in what we call the 5 pillars of health. So first pillar of health is going to be detoxification and gut health. And so we're going to want to look and find out what your digestive system's doing. And then we want to get all the toxins cleaned out of your body, because that can be an inhibiting factor to your thyroid hormones. The second pillar of health is going to be on nutrition. So we do a hair analysis where we send the hair to a lab, and then the lab analyzes the micronutrient deficiencies in your hair. And then from that test, we can understand what foods to recommend, because if you're eating foods that are triggering an autoimmune reaction, That's going to have an effect on your metabolism, on your thyroid. It will cause more inflammation in your body. The third pillar of health is going to be hormonal health. So that's where we're going to look at your thyroid from an antibodies perspective. We're going to look at TPO. We're going to look beyond just the regular standard tests that your doctors ran for you. And even if your thyroid, if you've been told it's healthy, but you still have some of the symptoms, you've got, like we talked about, the hot sweats, you've got the cold hands, cold feet, your hair is thinning, you've got no libido, you're constipated, you're craving sugar and breads and pastas. Those are all symptoms. So we want to test that because we've got to get to the true underlying cause. The fourth pillar of health is going to be exercise. And exercise is medicine. So, based on what your labs reveal, that's how we get an exercise protocol that's going to be appropriate for you. So, that's where we're going to judge what your cortisol levels are doing and then give you the proper dose of exercise. Otherwise, you could be burning out your thyroid more than is necessary. We're going to look and find out how frequently you should be exercising, and then the intensity levels and the appropriate mode to be in. The fifth pillar of health is going to be brain health and nervous system. So that's where we've got to erase all of those physical traumas. That's where the appropriate treatments will come into place. And once again, we've got phenomenal providers in all 5 of our Utah clinics. And so just reach out to us, and we will certainly, if you're willing to do a few things for your health, we're certainly here for you. But who we can't help are people who don't want the help. So we have this policy at East West that we say we take A students and we take B students, but we don't take C students. Now, if you think of that, like what's an A student like? It's someone who's probably like you. They're motivated. They're on it. They want to make changes. What's a B student like? A B student is somebody who is maybe somebody who's just maybe they'll do it, but they might miss a few assignments, or you may fall off the bandwagon. I mean, in health, it's okay to be a B student. Maybe initially you'll have to be an A student, but then we'll have a little more room to play with. But a C student is someone who says, I've got to think about it. So the more people think about, well, maybe I'll do something for my health, but I've got this trip coming up and I'm starting a new, speaking of school, maybe you're at school and I'm starting this new course, or I've got this new job. So as soon as that mellows out, then I'm going to do something about my health. But what I find is the longer you think about it, the less likely it is that you're actually going to do something to get help. And so I hear every day people say, Reagan, I wish that I would have found you guys 10 years ago because my life has dramatically changed through the tests you've been able to order for me and through the coaching and mentoring and treatments that I've received here at the clinic. And so, don't let that be you. Don't think about it. You can do this because I know you're a great procrastinator. We all are. So, take the chance, do something about your health. A lot of people ask, well, can I do it? I mean, it's going to be some lifestyle modification. So, are you willing to give up some of those foods that may be causing some damage for you? Are you willing to, think outside of the box when it comes to exercise? Are you willing to get some more sleep? Are you willing to, maybe even take some herbs or some supplements that we've been shown to help improve your thyroid? All those things you have to look at, because it does take a motivated person, but once you get your health reclaimed, then it's almost like you are flying. It's like once you flap the wings and you get at cruising altitude, that's when it's not hard anymore. It doesn't feel like a sacrifice. I know with my health, when I've struggled in the past, it's crazy how much better I feel once I start getting rid of those foods that, for example, in my case, were causing psoriasis and exercise-induced asthma. Once I got rid of those, I started putting in better fats. I started eating more avocados, more sauerkraut to get some better diversity in my colon. I just noticed it's a world of a difference. So there's no temptation when it comes to eating processed foods or junk because I know how it makes me feel. So you can do this. one of my favorite Chinese proverbs that hopefully will give you a little inspiration to look in deeper when it comes to your health is it says, "Tell me and I may remember. Show me and I will remember. Involve me and I will understand." So this is a way that you can literally get involved when it comes to your health. We've got people who care. We've got in my clinics, I only hire people who really are purpose driven, people who have a sincere desire to help others and who are smart, who stay up on the research and who don't take risks when it comes to your health. So today what I want to do is I want to give you an opportunity to come into the clinic. You've gotten this far in this video, and so I know that you are someone who is motivated, somebody who will do something about your health. A lot of people ask, well, will my insurance cover the care that you guys offer? And the fact of the matter is, we want to be your doctor. We want to work for you, not your insurance company, and we don't want them to dictate what care you need. We want that to be a mutual decision. So we don't move forward with anybody until we find out, if it's the right fit. But in general, insurance company may cover some of the services, but what you'll have to do is deal directly with your insurance company. We'll get you super bills and everything else that you need. If you have a health savings account, that absolutely will cover, the services that we provide, the testing, the labs, all those things. So that is it qualifies under the IRS guidelines. But what we want to do is dig in first of all, see if we can help you, and then we put a plan of action together for you. So how we do that is through a wellness evaluation. And in this wellness evaluation, typically what we charge is $287. That's for the consultation, and that includes you bringing in labs that you've had from the past. We sit down, we review the labs, we find out what's been missed, because we don't like to leave any stone unturned when it comes to your health, because your health is, as Mark Twain said, it's your greatest wealth. So we don't leave any stone unturned. But we do a consultation. If you don't have current labs, we'll run those for you. So there's no need to bring those if you don't have any. But we want you to bring your spouse on this visit, because this is a lifestyle program. And anytime you're changing your lifestyle, you want to make sure that you've got the support network around you. And so I may ask your spouse, if you bring your spouse, I may make sure that you can do this. I'll ask, can he do this? Is he going to be committed enough? Because I don't want to waste your time. I don't want to waste your resources. We don't want to risk our reputation. We have an amazing reputation throughout the state. We love to help people, and we've got clinics in Salt Lake, St. George, West Valley, Ogden, and our newest clinic's in Park City. So the reason we've been able to grow like we have is because we offer a solution that is, once again, it puts the responsibility on you. We order the correct tests. We give you an ABC 1, 2, 3 approach, and then what we do is we get the lifestyle program for you that your body needs. So it's going to be different than mine, maybe, or different than your grandma's. So that's what we do. But please bring a support person. Be on time for this visit. The value of this is $287. I mean, if you think about how much you pay when you go for your doctor's visits. As a new patient, most doctor's office bill that around $350 and even up to $500 if there's more than 3 conditions that you're presenting with. We're not going to charge that much. What we want to do is just lower that financial barrier. So what we charge for our initial evaluation is just $87. If you have a spouse or a family member that you also want to bring with you, maybe it's your best friend who's got thyroid issues too, or a coworker, you can sign up both of you for an initial evaluation and an initial consultation, and then the additional person is just $47. So all you need to do is call the office. You're also welcome to email us, and we're happy to get you scheduled. Once again, we do things differently. We take a comprehensive, holistic functional medicine approach when it comes to resolving your thyroid issues, and I'm honored that you took the time to look into this, to look into your health. And I deeply care about you. I care about the health of our country. I think it's time to move into a new direction. And you're taking that first step by calling us today. And once again, there's no risk to you. If we feel like we can't help you, we'll let you know. And as far as your investment goes, once you come into the clinic, we have programs that work for virtually any budget. Single moms, single dads, retirees. We have people on disability who can afford to get the care that they need. So thank you very much, and I look forward to seeing you. Once again, my name is Reagan Archibald. I am the founder of East West Health, and I'm also your ally when it comes to health.